everybody, and welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Lori Larson. This is episode 165. That means I've done 65 episodes already. Holy, that's just gone by so quick. It's hard to believe that 65 episodes ago was Christmas Eve. And so I've been doing that since then. Doing the show since then. I really enjoy this. I actually changed it from 15 minutes to 16 minutes because I seem to always hit 16 minutes anyway. So, might as well make it get flexible with me. So, what did we want to talk about today? Well, I just saw a very inspiring, I guess I should say more insightful post on Facebook. And it got me thinking. And with something that was created in my world this week, it was something that actually had me go there a bit. And so the post I saw on Facebook was curious. If you had one more year to live in your body and enjoy being on this beautiful planet, what would be relevant? What would your priorities be? Who would you surround yourself with? What would you be willing to instantaneously let go of? Would you get voraciously present and honest with yourself? So yeah, like if you had one more year to live, if you had one more month to live, if you've just, yeah. And it's what's kind of interesting is, and ironic, I suppose, or synchronistic, is that today I'm actually going to be going to a funeral for an aunt of mine. And I don't know about you. It can be very easy to be in almost like a complacency where, they're older, you expect it. She had cancer for a long time. And, if you read the obituaries or you hear of someone, we had a couple of people in our community, I think it was last year, that were in their 50s that passed away, unexpectedly. But it's funny how, I don't know about you guys, but I can find in my world where it's like you almost keep it removed from yourself. And it can impact you. But how many of us actually stop and ask ourselves these kinds of questions? What would we actually really, truly choose if we knew we only had 3, 6, 9 months, a year left on this planet? Are we relieved by it? Because some people might be. For some people, it might be like, whoa, I did not realize how much that'd be totally okay in my world. I'd be okay to go. I'd be okay to let myself have some ease, which is really interesting that come out of my mouth, because I wonder where my mind goes, as I talked about curiosity in my show yesterday, is what if we could create the ease now? And if we are choosing to be here, and say we do have choice, we can only guess. Do we have choice when we go? We can certainly create it in certain ways. You can see where people will pass away shortly after a loved one. Was that something that they had some influence in? Even energetically by, say, giving up or having had enough or, choosing whatever it was for them. And I really want to, I really desire to make this whole subject of death and dying to be something that is not so traumatic and tragic and awful as it's made out to be, that that we could just have more ease with it. Maybe celebrate the fact that we had that person in our lives. And know that the sadness that comes with it would be something that it's like the sadness would be just a reminder of the gift that they were to us. I just wonder, if you had one more year to live in your body and enjoy being on this beautiful planet, what would be relevant to you? What would your priorities be? Who would you or wouldn't you surround yourself with? Would you be willing to instantaneously let go of things? A situation was created in my life this week where, some of these kind of questions came up, like similar but different. Really, truth, what am I going to put up with? What am I going to, and put up with even with myself? I have a lot of information. It reminds me of something that I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza say. We live in a time of so much information that ignorance is actually a choice. And that may sound kind of harsh. And this is where, when I talked a bit yesterday, well, my whole show was about curiosity yesterday, but this is where I'm really grateful that I've allowed myself to get to a place where I embrace the curiosity that I have in my world, and that I like to look at what else is possible in any given situation. And where it's so easy to have conclusions. Like, do people actually question, like we're raised often that death is a very bad thing. But the irony to it is that we're all going to die. Like, do people actually get that? And I can see in my life where I've gotten complacent or lazy with things that I say are important to me. I noticed lately, like with moving my body, I keep getting the awareness. My body's like, oh, I'd like to move more. I'd like to move more. And I'll be like, well, I can't go outside and walk right now because there's just too much ice and snow and everything, and it's too uneven on the back roads and stuff. So then I'm like, well, I can't do that. So I do nothing. And I choose to distract myself by going on Facebook or, you know, I certainly love gathering more and more information, and that's not wrong. And if my body is actually asking me to move, I'm not actually choosing that. So, and this isn't a space for judgment. Actually, there's probably really never a good place for judgment. But what would your priorities be if you had one more year, 6 months, 3 months to live? What would you actually choose? What would you actually be honest with yourself and go, this is actually really, really important to me? It was kind of interesting because this aunt that passed away, and her funeral is tomorrow. Her husband, my uncle, had passed away a couple weeks before her. I had a cousin and another uncle, pass away in the fall last year. And we've had other people in our community and stuff like that. And, I remember thinking before, and with all this subject of funerals and stuff, My hubby and I actually had a lot of conversations about, what would we choose for a funeral? Would we choose a funeral or not? And, in this 10 seconds, him and I are both playing with the idea because we'd like to know to honor each other's wishes. We're kind of on the fence about whether we'd want to have a funeral or not. Maybe have something depending on the time of year, have just a barbecue in a backyard or something, a little more playful and fun and more of a celebration of life. There's so many people that are not choosing funerals nowadays. And again, it's not wrong if people do. Each people, like each person, needs to really honor and acknowledge what's true for them. I was listening to an Abraham video this morning too, and the one person asked Abraham, so if you had if you could give one bit of advice to everyone, one thing, if there was only one thing you could give everybody, what information, what tip would you give them? And Abraham said, be nice to you. Like, be nice to you. Do the things that inspire you. Hang out with the people that contribute to you. Do the things that make you happy. And I know that, there's people that are going to say, yeah, but I have kids and I have to look at my kids and I got to have a job. So Lori, where does that fit into all of this? But what if it is to say, hey, what would it take to have a job that is fun? What would it be? It's kind of like, and not with everybody. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily have jobs that are actually really fun for them. And how much are we also taught that jobs aren't supposed to be fun? Like, what if you could have a job that's fun for you? Actually, when I look back on my career, my 32 years working in lab and x-ray, I had a good time. I don't remember really if I ever had any day where I didn't want to get up and go to work. I really did. I enjoyed the variety of it. I enjoyed the people I worked with. I enjoyed, the patients that I worked with. I enjoyed what I did. It was interesting. I wonder if we could all, if there was ways that with question and with getting into the energy, those lovely energetic priorities. I wonder if we knew that it was possible that if we got into the energies that we would like for our life to be, our job to be, that the universe would be like, oh, that's what you want. Oh, okay, well, here, give me a minute. I'll organize it for you. And then you say yes. What if the same thing is available for you with a relationship? Yeah. If you had one more year to live in your body and enjoy being on this beautiful planet, who would you hang out with? Would you maybe spend a lot more time by yourself? And what if that is so freaking honoring of you? That's actually what I was going to say about the funeral thing is when my hubby and I were talking about it, I actually said to him, that before I used to think that the sign of me being a good person was that there would be a lot of people at my funeral. Now, you know what I care about? I care that I'm happy about how my life went when I'm done. In my last breath, and if I have an awareness that it's my last breath, if I can sit there within myself and be with myself and be really satisfied with what I chose, with how I showed up, with what I did for me and for the people that I cared, that I cared about, that surrounded me, that I showed up the way I wanted to show up to them. That it's not what the rest of the world that thinks about me, but the people that are close to me. That I was congruent with all of these things that I desired to be, that I had the vulnerability and courage to be that with my family and my close friends. That's what I actually really desire for me. And you know what? I got to tell you right now, in this 10 seconds as I'm recording this show, if one of these next breaths was my last breath, I really am totally good with it. I love being in that space. I love having that space for me. And since I'm still here, a couple more breaths away, what is going to be fun for me for the rest of the future that I desire to choose and create? A majestically delicious 2019 with vibrancy, wealthy, playful, congruence, trust, inspired, fun, playful. Oh, I said playful. I like that one. That's an important one to me. So on that note, I adore you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I hope this show inspired you and invited you into something more within yourself. So big hugs to you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Toodaloo.